XRP, we start with daily chart, and this is what we see for the XRP. And as we can see for the overall market, this crash a lot, and mostly for the XRP. Okay, that's why if you refer to our analysis, since the price was within this top, I was keep highlighting about the next drop. That's why I mentioned if anyone wants to look for buy from here, if there is no continuation, we have to be quite careful about the next drop. That's why I mentioned the breakout of the previous top is very important for us. As long as the price couldn't break the previous top, the possibility for the next drop will be there. But I was not expected the price it can drop as this deep. All right. And since as we can see, uh for the overall market for the Bitcoin and even the altcoin, we had this drop. Okay. And as I mentioned, for me, even I was not expected to get this one. And we haven't seen this kind of the move quite a long time ago. And because on 2018, we had to see this kind of the drop was like normal. We could see a lot of the drop before we see the continuation for the price to get the higher time, higher price. Okay. Anyway, this is the reason every time I mention for those traders, they're trading based on they're using the margin to trade. They should have the stop loss because right now I can see a lot of the accounts they get the call margin, okay, because of this kind of the drop. All right. And now we want to see what's the next. And even if anyone wants to look at this point, we can look for buy based on lower time frame, but we should know how to look for trades. And if again traders they're using the margin, then they should look for the stop loss. But we look for higher time frame. Okay. If we move to monthly chart, all right, it's here. As we can see, the price almost dropped and tagged the lowest price of this correction. Okay. And even if you refer to weekly chart, every time I was putting this in relative to what we have here. And I was highlighting about 1.97. Okay, because I mentioned we can look for this before we see the reversal. Okay. And almost the price tagged the previous low. Okay. And even based on weekly chart, we mentioned about the divergence. All right. Again, for me, I was not expected to get this drop in a single day. But as I mentioned, we had this kind of the crash on 2018 a lot. Okay. Then we want to see what's the next. Still, we can look for continuation. The only thing is we have to wait and see within the next few days how the market can react. Whether in a single or 1 or 2 days we can see the reversal, or we can expect or we can see the price to consolidate for longer time before we see the reversal. All right. Then we want to see how we can look for buy, and to see this kind of the price drop for the XRP is like quite disappointing because the XRP is one of the most one of the charts that they had a lot of the drop. All right. Now, anyway, still we can look for buy. The only thing is we want to see, we have to look for the trade setup. And if we move to daily chart, there is no trade setup because even there is a possibility the price can reverse without giving us a trade setup. That's why if anyone wants to look for buy, they have to be quite careful. Simply, I mean, it depends what type of the account they're trading. But if they're using the margin, then they have to be quite really careful. But the rest, if for those traders they're using the spot, they don't need to worry, just they buy even if the price drop, at least they are safe. Okay. But if they are using the future or the margin, then they have to be quite I mean really careful, not the quiet. And if you move to forward chart, there is no trade setup. Okay. And if I move to 1 hour chart, right now we see the breakout of this one. Okay. If anyone wants to look for buy, they should look for flag. At this point, I don't see any flag. And if I move to 15 minute, even based on 15 minute, there is no flag, no trade setup. Okay. After this, if there is a flag based on 15 or 1 hour chart, we can look for buy. Where will be the stop loss? All right. Where should we look for the stop loss? If anyone wants to look for, they're using the future or the margin, the stop loss, I mean, at least should be somewhere below here, somewhere around 2.2. Because of what we get here, we cannot confirm. And at this point, I don't see any trade setup. That's why I cannot say where will be the stop loss. If we get the trade setup, then yes, we can confirm with the stop loss. But at this point, I don't see any trade setup. Okay. Anyway, we have to wait and we want to see what we will get. And hopefully the price can reverse, because to see this much drop for the XRP compared to the other charts is really disappointing, because I can see a lot of the accounts they're using the margin, or they use the future, they got the call margin, and hopefully we will see the reversal, and we will see the price reverse and break 2.9 within the short time. Because if the price consolidate here for longer time, then the possibility for the price again retest and drop to somewhere around 1.5 or 1.6 is a lot. That's why for me at this point I want to see what we'll get from here. But again, the only way to look for buy is to look for flag. We follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share. Thanks.